Pyro Unleashed presents the Finale3D Tip of the Week, sponsored by Finale Fireworks.
All right, well, here we are, number 2 for the Finale3D Tip of the Week. Thank you again, Drew, for spending the afternoon. Well, I guess we're kind of doing a bulk recording session here, but
we should have all gone and changed our outfits.
Yeah, should have changed all of our clothes quickly.
Quick change in between episodes.
Yeah. But
I swear it's not dirty laundry. We're still here.
We're still here.
We all planned it. It's like a week after, and we're all now.
Yeah. So episode 1, we kind of went through some of the beginner steps of kind of setting up your workspace, kind of the different levels and getting you started. And so kind of at that point now where we've got Finale open, and we're going to start diving, I think, to some of the next things of setting up your show and some of the visuals, what you see on screen, and what some of that stuff means, and how to kind of maybe lay out your show site a little bit. And so I think Drew's going to hop in a little bit. I think David, you had a question on what
I do, yeah.
So
So I guess let's start talking about what's on the timeline there. What does that blue line mean for somebody who might not know?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question, David. So in our last episode, we talked about the timeline and the increments on the timeline.
Yes.
To do that, I dropped in an effect, happens to be a cake. So different things would appear on the timeline a little differently. This one happens to be a cake. And so what you're seeing here is, first you've got your cue marker. We only have one thing in our show, so we have just this one cue marker, and it's got the little flag on it and the number 1. And this little blip, little circle there where these two lines intersect, that's what we call the effect time. And so that's really meant to represent the moment at which the visual effect happens. When you're scripting, you're usually scripting to effect time. Right. And effect time can be different than the launch time, or what we call the event time. Because, take for example, a shell. There's a time when the firing system ignites the E-match and the shell gets launched. And then there's a later time where the shell bursts in the sky. And so the effect time is the time the shell bursts. So if you're designing a show to a big note in the music soundtrack, you're scripting to that effect time. You want that shell to burst or break on that note of music. So that's what that blip is showing you. And if we had music, you don't have music on the timeline, we'll definitely get to that. But that's what that means. So this horizontal line is called the duration bar, and it represents the time all the way over here on the left from what's technically called the event time. That's this time here, 8.240 seconds, all the way over to where the, of course, in the middle we have the effect time. That's the time at the first shots from the cake start to appear in the sky with their falling leaves effect. And then that duration bar continues all the way over to the nominal duration of the cake. So it's representing the duration from the first ignition from the cake to the first set of effects appearing in the sky, all the way over to when the cake burns out. And this duration bar is the nominal duration of the effects. So there's always going to be some variance. So the duration bar doesn't necessarily represent the exact time every last spark disappears. Because there is variance and realism added to the effects. So but it's a pretty good representation of the duration. So that's what you're seeing here on the timeline. One last thing, and I get this question a lot, is, okay, Drew, great. Why is this timeline this color, or excuse me, this duration bar this color blue? And if you were to add something else, let's go ahead and see what sizes we got in here. Oh, let's get some shells. So here's a shell. I'll go ahead and add a 4-inch shell to position number 6. And now you're seeing that we've got sort of a dark bluish purplish line. Here we've got a sort of blue aqua colored line, right? If we go ahead and drop in, say, a 5-inch shell.
I see a pattern
now
here.
We've got an orange, a kind of burnt orange colored line. So these lines correspond, I kind of gave it away there by adding different sizes of effects. These lines correspond to the sizes of effects. Okay. So when you're glancing at your timeline, the duration bars correspond to the effect calibers, or what we call size in Finale3D. And that I do get the question, can I change the colors? You can't currently change the colors.
Okay.
Oftentimes I'll record a video and I'll say, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then the week later you can. So we might make that possible as a setting in the future, but it's not today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then secondly, not only can you not change the color specifically, you can't change the colors to mean something else. Like, say you wanted cakes to be one color and shells to be another, versus it being based on size. You can't do that. It's kind of just how it works. These colors here in the time, there's also colors here in the events in the script, and those colors are based on the position. So we were talking about show settings earlier. So script row color mapping. You can change the color mapping and the color coding in the script. By default, it's based on the position, but it could be based on nothing. You can remove the color, or you can set it to being size. Rail address means the same thing as module.
Yeah, that would be cool, the rail address.
Yeah.
So something
wow.
like that.
Huh.
So you have that option. So that's a kind of a maybe even too deep of a dive on the timeline duration bars, but that's kind of that's the long answer to your question, David.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. And then I guess let's kind of jump into let's talk about what is that front, the top, side, 2D lock, and that plus sign there. Yeah, let's kind of dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, great. So I am going to, for the moment, I'll leave these items on the screen because it'll help illustrate it a little bit. We are, again, as a reminder for the audience, we're using the Pro version of Finale 3D. One of the differences between Light, Hobbyist, and Pro, Light, unlike Hobbyist and Pro, has a fixed view. So you don't have the same, what we call camera presets in Light, because you have a sort of locked down front view. So it's an audience view, and that's kind of where you stay. There's also a top view as well, and we'll get into how that's useful in just a second. But the difference in Hobbyist and Pro, both have this, is the ability to position the camera view anywhere in the show. So we have these buttons down here. One of them is for rotating, or what I call orbiting. You can click it, and then you can sort of like all of a sudden you're like a drone or like a bird's eye view. You can go anywhere in the show. The reason we have these built-in default camera presets is because when you're new, especially, you might get lost. And so now we're like on Mars somewhere, and we're wondering like, where did my show go? I'm lost. I don't understand how to navigate in 3D space on my 2D computer screen. Finale, you suck. Help me. That's where it's really helpful to have these camera presets where it's like click front, it takes you right back to the default front view. So top does exactly what you expect. It allows you to shoot fireworks into your face. You're looking from the top down now at the shoot site. And then the side view is exactly that. It happens to be a view from the right looking across to the left side of the shoot site, right? So now we're looking at that cake on edge there. And that's kind of exactly what it'd be like if you were kind of watching the show from the side. So that's what those do. The 2D lock, if I click in the simulation view, right? So let's go to the render settings real quick. I don't want to dive too deep into this, but I just want to make the terrain and I want to make the sky brighter so you can kind of appreciate the 3D world. So there's the 3D world with the sunset and the grass. I'm actually holding control on my keyboard and then clicking and dragging my mouse around and to kind of fly around in here. The 2D lock locks the view. So now when you click in the view, you're not accidentally moving your camera around. Instead, your mouse becomes a selection box that allows you to select things on the screen, like either the fireworks themselves or the positions. So the very much feels like the light version of Finale. The light version of Finale is kind of like this. It has the simulation with a locked down front view, but this can be useful for a bunch of reasons, which we'll get into in more detail. But it does cool things like prevent you from accidentally moving around. It brings your position names down front, and you can unlock any time. So you can, position yourself somewhere, lock, and then, it brings everything for position names down front and keeps you from, so basically prevents you from moving the view around. Front, top, side is often not enough though, right? Like, so if I want to be up here and I want to like say, oh, I'm going to watch my show from some portion of the grandstands kind of up over here. Say you want to have Finale remember this so you can come back to it. You can click this green plus and you can add your own camera preset. You can change the name of the preset by clicking on the label and, get whatever you want. So I can just, you can just put in my name or, view one, whatever I want, hit rename. And now if I'm somewhere else, I can click on my custom preset and that brings me back to my viewpoint. This is in this show. You're not changing the way Finale works. Like if we started a new blank show, it's going to have just the front, top, and side. So this preset applies to this show that we're working on right now. but that's a way you can, quickly navigate and snap to different camera viewing angles. And this applies to the hobbyist and pro versions of Finale.
So a question there. So I see down in the middle of the field there in front of P05.
Yes.
What is that?
This is a guy with a death wish. His name is.
He's had a hard hat though.
He does have a hard hat.
A hard hat.
I hope for everyone who's been through the PGI dot course, we definitely have him clothed. It looks like he's, sort of clothed in synthetics, but I promise he's wearing 100% cotton since he's right down in the action. So he's got sort of turnout gear going on. I don't know. He really needs gloves though.
He needs
really
glass.
yeah.
He needs glasses.
So, if you've ever used a 3D modeling application like Blender or SketchUp or any kind of software on your computer where you have a 3D environment, there's always got to be some kind of indicator of where's the middle, where's the origin, where's the coordinate system based on, right? So Origin Man in Finale is, instead of having some ugly like little crosshairs thing, we have a pyro that stands there on the ground. His name is Origin Man, and he represents the middle of the 3D universe. So everything in Finale is based, all the measurements for things that are in the 3D world are based off of Origin Man. He's the 0 point. So as an example of that, this is a good segue into position layout.
Yes.
We've got 9 firing positions in here. These are just the default ones that come with a blank show, but you can have any number of firing positions within reason, thousands. And you can put them anywhere you want in 3D space. If I click this little gold lock down here, they'll become unlocked. Let me show you what happens if you don't. So if, say I want to move one of these and I try to click and drag on it, I'm clicking and dragging on it and it's not doing, it's really not moving, right? So, and it's telling me positions locked down here. And that's the clue to click this little gold lock to unlock those positions.
Yep.
As soon as I unlock them, I start seeing the dimensions or the distances from Origin Man. So this position here, position 6, 13 meters to the right of Origin Man, 8 meters back.
Yeah.
First thing you might be thinking if you're in the United States is, what the heck is a meter?
How many feet is
blame
that?
you. So let's fix that real quick. So when you take Finale, you get it out of the box and you install it on your machine, you're going to want to go to File, User Settings. There's a ton of user settings. The one we care about right now is this guy here. Show ruler distances in feet instead of meters. You will find in Finale, like, we're really careful about the words we use. This doesn't mean that all of Finale's in feet. It means that the rulers are in feet. And that's why there's so many words that name this setting. It's not put Finale in feet. So you're going to hate this, but there's a lot of things in Finale that can't be in feet. But we kind of have ways for a lot of them to work in feet or meters. This one puts the rulers in feet. So now what you're seeing here is the ruler distances, which are being measured off of Origin Man. Those are shown in feet. So there, for example, if I move this position up, now we've got a position that's 16 feet to the right of Origin Man and 2 feet kind of forward, something like that. So you can drag positions wherever you want. I strongly recommend that you go to the top view if you want to move positions around the ground. And why is that? You're in a 3D space and you're on a 2D screen. So if you want to drag a position along the ground, it's better to be looking from the top down, right?
Yeah.
If you want to drag a position up into the sky, you can look forward. Now, because I'm looking forward, the plane or like the surface of my computer screen is up and down. So now I just elevated a position. So like, say I'm making a tower to shoot some effects from a 360-degree wheel or circle rack. I would need a firing position elevated in the sky. Maybe not 300. I should be lucky to be able to go 300 feet, but maybe you can get a tower that, get 100 feet or 150 feet if you're lucky, or get a crane, right? So you can elevate positions and they can just float there in the sky and you can shoot effects from them and that works. But you just be aware that the direction that you're looking in the environment affects whether you're dragging, on which axis you're dragging the position. So I'm going to bring this, for simplicity, I'm going to bring this guy back down to the ground and I'm going to flip to the top view so I can look from the top down.
So I did see the 2 lines, I believe, when you had one selected, and I'm guessing it was because it was in the row of the rest of the positions. Is that correct? It's signifying.
Oh yeah, so that's a newer
right there.
feature to try to help you get alignment with your position. So when you get a position, let's move this guy out and then compare side by side. So like when you get a position that's snapped into the same it's aligned with another position, either laterally or front to back or side to side.
Yes.
You do get those lines, and that's kind of a newer thing.
Nice.
If you have Finale already and you're not seeing that, try updating to the latest version,
Yeah.
and you'll get that feature. So it's been in there for a bit, but it's definitely a 2024 feature. Definitely didn't exist before that. So that really helps with that. But I know where Dave is going with this, and the answer is you don't have to manually drag and drop all your positions and kind
Correct.
of figure them out one by one. You can get ruler measurements from between positions. But there I can see by selecting 2 positions, which I sort of didn't explain how I did that, but holding shift on your keyboard allows you to click, then you can click on multiple positions to select them. Shift, click, and drag also draws a selection box. So you can select multiple positions that way. That's the same thing. This blue, if you're a person who loves the mouse, hates the keyboard, this blue button here on the left allows you to draw a selection box. So when I click it, I'm drawing a selection box to select some stuff. When I release my mouse, I'm back in the normal mode of dragging around the environment. So I need to click that every time. And that's why you're not seeing this on camera, but I tend to hold shift on my keyboard to draw a selection box. So that gives you that ruler between those two. But to the point, you don't want to have to, it's hard, even with the rulers and the guides, to perfectly line up a set of positions and get them perfectly spaced. And if you have, this is one of those things, if you have light version of Finale, it's pretty manual, and you're not getting the automated tools to lay out positions. But if you have the hobbyist or pro version of Finale, especially on the pro end, you get a lot of tools to arrange positions for you. So if we were going to do a show with a bunch more positions, let's say you were having a front of 15 positions. Right now we've got 9, so we need 6 more. You can head up to positions, add multiple, and I'll just say add 6 more. There they are, they're in, but they're not where they want them. I want them all in a line.
Yep.
So I can go ahead and shift, click, and drag to select them all. And now I'll go to positions and choose arrange into a pattern, line. And here's where I can enter feet or meters. Let's say I want my line of positions 350 feet long. If I enter 350 with no units, Finale assumes meters. So if you want feet, make sure you enter FT as your units. And this is the total length. It's not the gap between the positions. It's the total length from one end of your, what a Pyro would call probably a front or a row of positions, line of positions, all the way to the other end. So there we go. Just clicking enter. Now I've got a total of 350 feet from left to right. And they're all perfectly spaced, perfectly lined up. So if we wanted to do maybe a few positions in the back for shells, add, say, 3 more positions, and then I can drag those along the ground. They're spaced apart 98 feet. Let's say I'm happy with that in the interest of time. And that's helping me. When I'm holding my mouse down there, you can see there is some measurements. Those are the measurements back from Origin Man. So I can see there I'm dead center on the shoot site, and I'm 239 feet back from Origin Man. So yeah, that can help definitely with laying out positions. With these, I can center them up by, say, grab the middle position and get that centered here. So now you can see those guides working.
There we go. Nice.
Lined up. So, and again, I'm working from the top down because I'm trying to drag positions along the grass. I'm not trying to raise positions up in the air at this point. So I was mentioning earlier that, sorry, Donnie, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, you're fine.
I was saying earlier that the 2D lock can be handy, and now that we have positions in the backfield, I can sort of illustrate why. When you click 2D lock, it brings your position names down front. So now it makes it more easy. Remember, when you want to add a product to a show, you're selecting the position that the product goes into, the effect. So you need to be able to select position names easily. So that 2D lock, if I have it off, go ahead and lock down our positions here so don't move them accidentally. If we have it off, we have to click way back here, or we might have to get ourselves back there to click on it. But if we hit the 2D lock, now we get all of our position names down front. If you've got a ton of positions in your show, they can kind of all get crunched on top of each other. Yeah. But in the simple case like this, it can be really handy to get the position names brought right to you. So it's kind of handy.
That's cool. I've never even used that 2D lock before, and that's really cool because you can stay in that front view and you can reach all those positions in the back.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, this is probably a good moment to talk about these. So we talked about camera presets on the right. We talk about position group shortcuts on the left. So by default, there's only one, and it's called all positions. Yeah. And this is a single click way to select all the positions in the show. But you might and probably often don't want to select all the positions in the show. The reason you want to select positions is to add effects, right? So if we come in here to David's catalog, the RKM catalog, and let's go for some comments. I've got all these positions selected. If I now click on a thumbnail icon, I'm going to get a comment on every position at whatever time I have the playhead on the timeline. So if I'm around 30 seconds, everything's selected. I'll click on crackling comment, and boom, I'm now firing a crackling comment, 18 of them in total from all over the shoot site. But there's a good chance that I don't want to do that. There's a good chance I just want to shoot maybe from, say, the front row of positions here, or the even numbered positions.
Yeah.
So I can use my shift and click trick to select, say, the odd number positions or the even, whatever I want. But that was pretty slow, right? I don't want to do that every single time I want to shoot a comment from all those positions. And that's where you can click this plus over here, the green circle with the white plus, to add your own position shortcut.
Yeah.
You can give it your own, name. You could call this like odd. And then now I have a position shortcut that allows me to select my odd number position. So here's all, here's odd. Clicking on anything but the positions just unselects everything. So now I can quickly get, boom, firing a comment from, my odd number position, something like that. So it's really helpful. One thing we didn't talk about, guys, is renaming positions. It's really helpful if you're on a shoot site to know, having a nomenclature that you use for your positions. So your crew knows what's where, and having everything just called P1 through P18 isn't that explanatory for being.
Correct.
So Finale uses these position names as the defaults, but they can be changed to be anything you want. You can't have two positions with the same name because that just creates confusion. Finale won't let you do that. But you can rename these. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's say we want these. We're going to call these our front. So let's say we're going to call them front and then 1 through whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and shift, click and drag, select all these, and then right click and choose rename. And then we can specify our own prefix. So front. And now I don't need to type anything else. Finale will automatically rename all those positions. Because I had 15 positions selected, Finale is automatically going to rename them. And it's going to do it in their existing alphabetical order. Unless I wanted something different, I could change it. So simple case, I press that and I get front 1 through front 15. And a tip for you guys, always use leading zeros in your position names, because Finale has a whole lot of functionality in the software where it sorts things alphabetically. And if you don't use leading zero, a computer that sorts things alphabetically will sort front 1, then 10, then 11, then 12, and then 2. And so you have to be sure to include that leading zero to make sure that your positions are always sorted in the order that the human likes, not what a computer thinks of as the right order. So always use that leading zero, front 1, 0, 1, if you have more than 9 positions, right? So back here, I'll just do that one more time. Shift, drag a selection box, right click, rename, and maybe we'll call these shells. And I only have 3, so I don't need that leading zero. I could say shells 1, and then Finale's automatically going to label those shells 3.
2, 3.
So, but be careful about that leading zero if you have more than 9 positions. It's really, really, really important for a whole bunch of reasons. So,
all right, I think this is a good stopping point here for episode number 2. We got the kind of how to set up your layout a little bit, and what I'm excited to get into maybe the next episode is how do we put some type of a backdrop or ground cover in there, what our shoot site looks like. I want to know how we do all that. So I think we're going to dive in that in the next episode a little bit, and probably putting some audio on a audio file in here and kind of going from there. So
perfect. Excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, guys, go out there, check out our website, pyrounleashedpodcast.com. We got some merch out there. We got Discord. Again, thank you to Drew for hanging out here with us again and putting some more content together. And we will catch you guys in the next episode of the podcast on Wednesday, or next episode of Finale Tips coming on a Friday near you. And in the meantime, go out there and unleash your inner pyro with us.
This has been another episode of Pyro Unleashed. Come back each week for more industry insights, technical tips, and awesome pyro designs. Have fun out there, be safe, and as always, remember to unleash your inner pyro with us.